Welcome to another session on the couch with Jill. I'm so happy to be with you, and today we've got a phenomenal man that's joining us on the couch today. Award-winning actor, producer, comedian, MC, Siv Ngesi. He's joining us on the couch today, and also a co-founder of many foundations. But today we're going to dig into and dive into the Menstruation Foundation South Africa. Welcome to On the Couch with me, Siv. It's such a privilege to have you here.
Good to be here.
I've been struggling for months because you're such a busy guy. You know, guys, I need to tell you that the first time I met Siv was in COVID, I think. I dropped some food off by him, and I really expected someone... Can I be honest?
Please. I can tell you what you expected. It's what everyone expects before they meet me. They have a particular persona of me, which I think it's the balance of the social media, but I think when people meet me, they're just like, he's so calm.
Besides the calm, I thought I was expecting someone a little bit more arrogant, but he is a lovely person. I felt an immediate connection with you and relaxed that I could actually even reach out to you to say, listen, do you want to come on my podcast, type of thing. So Siv has been doing amazing things, and I think this is the one guy that I personally know of, that has no qualms of speaking his mind, firstly. Secondly, supporting women in whatever they do. And I think it's basically how you were raised.
Yeah, for sure. I think, the thing is for me, I think people think I only speak for a woman's rights. I just speak for any injustice that I see. And I think society really is quite difficult on women, and I'll speak up against that and hold people accountable. I think for me, I'm not striving for any perfection. I'm just striving for men being held accountable, or humans being held accountable. I was raised by a very beautiful, strong mother who really was big on women's rights and woman advocacy. And for me, I just, took the baton and broadened it out. Gays, blacks, whites, Jews, Muslims. If there's an injustice, it's my thing.
But there's one thing. When COVID hit, right? I never ever thought about when you get your cycle, when the ladies get their menstrual cycle. You just have to carry on, and you go to the store and you go buy whatever. Because I've got an events and catering business, as you know. So we couldn't work for 2 years. And then eventually I had to literally count my pennies. And when it came to that time of the month, I realized how much money I need to spend on something that is natural, if I can put it that way, that must happen, that is a norm. And yet we have to pay so much money. And I love when I saw what you were doing. It's the Menstruation Foundation SA, and that you are bringing it to the locals that can't afford the sanitary towels. I was blown away, Siv, at a man that actually really cares what we go through, a man that actually felt the pain, a little bit of the pain, not all of it, but a little bit of the pain, and actually taking the baton and say, listen, how can I help these women? Because there's kids that stay out of school for this.
A young girl miss up to three to 6 days sometimes, if not, depending on their flow and depending on how long their cycle is. And for me, I've always had a household full of women, full of pads, tampons everywhere. And one day I put it out on social media asking myself, or people on social media asking, what do women do on the streets without sanitary pads? And it became a thing. I registered Menstruation Foundation, and I've been doing sanitary pad drives for the last 10 years. And it's definitely going to be my legacy. I think definitely I will not be remembered as an entertainer. I'll be remembered as a person who changed lives and ended period poverty.
And that is an amazing legacy to have. But besides all of that you do, and going through and getting to the ground and helping women in those situations, because these girls, you said 3 to 6 days, I have a flow of up to 10 to 14 days.
Wow.
And I need to work, and I work in the kitchen.
Like a curse.
It's like a huge curse sometimes. It's a huge curse. Yeah, you're standing in the kitchen and you're busy working, you're like, oh, I can't do this anymore, But, and yet, no other man, and I'm putting emphasis on a man because I think most of our problems start with men, like menstruation, menopause,
All of us.
All of the stuff started with
men is in there.
Men is in there. But you're so free and open about how you speak. You're not ashamed. You're not embarrassed. What do we need to teach our young boys today? What does us as mothers, parents, aunts, uncles teach our young boys today?
I must be honest, like, for me, I feel like women have failed in the space, and I think in 2024, I don't think women have been held accountable as much as women should be. I think it's the time to attack men and point fingers at men, and that's quite fashionable, and that's the go-to thing
and the easiest thing
to do. But I can tell you, women are raising rapists. Single women are raising rapists. Single women are raising men who can't talk about menstruation, who know nothing about menstruation, and they're in a household full of women. So for me, I started by saying women are still need to be held accountable for the failures that they have done in the system.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of people think that patriarchy is a system that only oppresses women, but I think patriarchy oppresses men. I think patriarchy is perpetuated by women, patriarchy is perpetuated by men, but I think at the moment the narrative is quite anti-man. And if you're listening to this and you think I'm trying to defend men, absolute nonsense. What I'm saying is that I don't think women have been held accountable in the flaws that they're doing in perpetuating the system and how the system has failed. Most women, up to 60% of men in society are raised in single household by women. And they still can't talk about sanitary pads. What?
But I think it's also in defense of women. I think it was also how we were raised. In the sense of my mother, although she had the free, open conversations, you say you have a little bit of a stomach ache or you're not feeling great, and she said, are you pregnant? I had this very same conversation with Dr. Doug Newman, and we spoke about how do we tell our husbands, because we were raised so conservative. How do we tell our husbands, I like it when you touch me like this? Or, it starts from when we started menstruating. They always say, you're getting your period now, you're going to fall pregnant, so keep your legs closed, But we never speak about it. We never raise the issues of how do you feel? What is the changes happening within our body? And we don't explain to our brothers in the household that your sister's going through this and this is what is going to happen. You might have a girlfriend that should go through the same thing. We don't do that.
My issue for me is that I think I can remember being at school, sitting on the cold wooden floors, and then suddenly they tell us boys to leave the assembly hall, and they leave the girls there. And they talk about menstruation and they talk about all that kind of stuff. The boys should be in that hall with the girls.
Learning I recall being at school and I literally fainted on stage because my period was so heavy, and I got teased because she bled through, there's a little bit of blood on her dress. Even though we take precautions, these things happen, but because we never educated our peers, it's basically our fault if we really look at it.
I think for me, there's obviously society has failed women tremendously. But I do think, like, if you go around asking men about women's cycles, I think a lot of men think that every woman bleeds in the beginning of the month and they all bleed the same time and everything is this way. If you ask men different questions about menstruation, they absolutely know nothing. But let's be just honest. If you go to white people and you ask them things about black people, white people are clueless, and vice versa. You know what I mean? Like, they're absolutely clueless, and they live day to day with people. I think a lot of people who have the privilege to not have to do certain things won't take any time and effort to learn. There's Google. In 2024. ChatGPT.
You sound like my mom. My mom says to me, I did. I'm like, when did you hear about AI? Everything is AI.
No, it's just like, it's unbelievable. Like, but I do believe that I think we must stop asking and looking for perfect men. There's no such thing. Because if you want a perfect man, find me a perfect woman, and then we can talk. Then we'll find a perfect. You know what I mean? That's what I want. I think at the moment, we can all agree that men have done many, many terrible mistakes in society. I think men have not been held accountable for many, many years, and I think things need to change. But I don't think the answer to it is pointing fingers continuously and blaming men for every single thing that's wrong in society. But with women sitting back and pointing fingers and not being held accountable by other women, which I think is absolute bullshit. Right?
And all given women, my best friends are all male, because women are always in some kind of competition with each other. We have nothing good to say about each other.
But that's that's society as well. That's the patriarchal system working against you. There can only be one. That you always see women, one hot one less hot one, because they've been told to compete.
Yeah.
But I only have girlfriends, and I love the way women think, and I love the empathy. I love the community that women have. It resonates with me. But I just think we should be just becoming like. For me, there are times when I'm just like, no, that's a human. That's a human mistake, not a man mistake. That's like a human. But even though I talk about this in all the work that we do, we're not perfect.
Yeah.
We have flaws, we have mistakes, we could be better, we could be doing things better, we could be changing more lives, but the mission is we're opening up a factory in November, and we're trying our utmost best to open in November and release the cheapest sanitary pad on the African continent.
That is so exciting. It's really exciting because I always feel that sex is a choice, but we give free condoms in this country, right? Menstruation is not a choice, but yet we need to pay for this.
So interesting thing about condoms, because that example is always made. The thing about the condoms help two people, not one.
True.
So condoms help men and women stop STDs for men and women, or HIV or pregnancy. So like, I think I don't think it should be either or. I think both should be free. I think both. And for me, it shouldn't just be condoms. It should be lube and condom. Have you ever tried using a condom without lube? Have you ever tried? How terrible that experience is.
I can't say.
It's ridiculous.
I think I'm going to try it with my husband when I'm saying, listen,
I would literally rather not have sex. I literally would have.
Really?
It is so bad. I don't understand how people could do that for their entire lives. It is so bad. And then we don't get educated about lube.
No.
We don't get educated about how to put on a condom correctly. All these things. So I don't think it should be either or. I think it's the same as if you're holding men accountable, everyone should be held accountable.
Yeah.
We shouldn't pick who should be more accountable. So I think those are the kind of things I'm all about. Equality, no double standards. I'm not a double standard kind of guy. Same as I say now, what I'm about to say, people women shouldn't hit men.
No, that's true. But abuse goes both ways.
Women should not hit men.
Because you're provoking the man.
Do not lift up your hand.
Yeah.
And every single girl, from small to old, do not lift up your hand to a man and hit him. Because you don't know what he will do back. And vice versa.
And he would be held more accountable because he shouldn't lift his hand to a woman.
But he's stronger. Do not hit anyone. But even that narrative, I see a lot of videos of women hitting men, then the man hits back, and then everyone's like, what's up? No. Just don't hit anyone. And I think our parents taught this from an early age. Yeah. Just don't lift your hand upon anyone.
Yeah, don't scratch, don't bite. Kids go through that biting stage.
Imagine. I watched at the Biscuit Mill, I watched a girl and a boy fighting. And the girl hit the boy hit back. Then the girl cried and ran to the mom. And I watched it, I was like, this is what happens in society. Sometimes. We're not saying men don't abuse. That's not the debate here. What I'm saying is that I think we should strive for an equality. We can't be, if I say to my girlfriends all the time, I was sitting with a friend of mine the other day, and she was sitting, I was sitting, we're having a debate. And I said, there are a lot of things that men are not needed in society anymore. Let's be truthful honest. There are things that are making us null and void. Yeah. But if someone walks in there with a knife, a woman will look for me to protect her.
Yeah, true.
When the bull comes, they look at me. You know what I mean? So
I'm going to go for dinner with you one night, so
there's interesting little double standards that are having here in society that I think a lot of men are confused as well. Do I open the door? Do I offer to pay? Don't I?
Do I give flowers?
Yeah, do I go in for the kiss? Or do I try to convince her to sleep with me? What do I do now? She's so... My guy friends are lonely. My guy friends are lonely. My guy friends are struggling. They're struggling to engage with women. They're scared. They don't want to be cancelled. They don't know what the boundaries are now. I would rather them be overly cautious than the things that have been happening in the past. Yeah. But I can tell you, young men struggling.
Yeah, but don't you think it also comes down to, if I look at the younger generation, not our generation, but the younger generation, doesn't it come down to social media? Because they don't have the skills any longer to
engage.
Yeah, and to break up. My nephew, he asked a girl to be his Valentine, and the girl said no. And he was devastated because it was done face to face. It wasn't done on social or WhatsApp or whatever they chat on. And he was like, I'm never going to do Valentine's again. I'm not going to school. It is done. This girl broke me. It's, you know, it's embarrassing for them. But we don't teach the kids these skills, because what do? We don't want them to get bored, so we give them money, or we give them a device, or we watch television, so they don't have the engagement. They don't play in the street. What is that little blocks that we used to draw in the street? They don't do those things any longer. Now they're saying the kids don't have motor skills or social skills or these kind of skills.
But changed.
Yeah, because the society has changed. And a lot of things I've been talking about was societal dictation and societal norms on marriages, on relationships, any kind of relationship, which also ties in with what we're speaking about, like when you're dating somebody. So well, how are you dating somebody? Yes, we're dating for 3 years. Oh, so when are you getting married? You know?
I'll never get married.
Okay. But you know, that is the question society that dictates. So now you're married, and they say, so when is the kids coming? I was in a situation, I had 5 miscarriages. I did fertility treatment for 5 years, even though my husband continuously said to me, I love you. Yes, it would be great to have a product of a love, but I love you. I couldn't understand that, because the norm is I'm a woman, I must bear the kids. And then a woman said to me one day, you're married for 5 years. Aren't you a bit selfish that you don't have kids?
Oh, wow.
And I literally lost my... You know, and
I think, do you have kids now?
I don't have kids at all, but my husband has a daughter, which we raised as our own, and she just gave us a beautiful granddaughter as well. So, yes, I have my nephew and my niece and my cousin's kids and things like that. And then I eventually realized, which was like a mind-opening thing to me, was that I am not actually a baby mommy. I want the kid here at 6, 7 years old, or even 13 years old. They can tell me exactly what's wrong. I want to mold you, guide you to be the best version of yourself, to be independent, to not want to need anybody, creating a happy environment. That's a kind of mom I want to be.
So I think Walt Disney did a couple of things to us. I think a lot of Walt Disney made us believe that we needed to find this one, then happily ever after.
Yeah.
That whole thing that we do. But I do think for me, like I sometimes, like I have big debates with my friends about, like I think a lot of my friends is the goal is relationship and marriage, but not friendships. Friendships are important. Like even though if you might be married, but you still need friends.
Exactly.
Like you won't get everything you need out of your husband.
No, because he won't get anything out of me.
Yeah, there's no person. He needs friends that are female as well. Like you need male friends and vice versa, and be able to get those things. But I think a lot of people now have less friends and are thinking they can invest entirely on their partner. No. There's no way. No way. What if that motherfucker doesn't like sushi?
I don't like sushi, and he does.
You love seafood.
Yeah.
I mean, like then you can go out with these friends and
go eat that.
You know what I mean? It's just, for me, I think everyone is investing everything into the relationship. There's one person that fits everything. You'll never find one person that fits everything.
No, I agree with you that.
And I think another thing for me, in my life, my friendships are the most important, is what I value. You know what I mean? I think but I think I have friends of mine who end up sleeping with their best friends, and I'm like, oh, it makes me uncomfortable, because for me, best friends are more important than relationships, because when you have a best friend, who do you talk to about your husband? You talk to your best friend. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like that's one of the most important friendships ever.
Well, like I've got the guy that I wrote a book since you met me, and the guy that took the pictures is my bestie, but he lives in the States. And he is the complete opposite to my husband.
Yeah.
He would go shopping with me. He would say, oh, that color doesn't suit you. He'll go get a different size. He has that kind of patience. Where my husband wants to go ride bike, he wants to go on a weekend away on the gravel or in the mud. And I don't really want to do that, you know. But my husband is my best friend. But yet, Clint is my sounding board in a sense of, he would always when I speak to him and I said, I'm so angry with my husband, I'm so upset, he would say, Jill, what did you do?
Yeah, I'm that friend.
And I'm like, whose friend are you? He says, yes, but I know you for a long time. So I know that you're going to overreact, or you're going to get jealous of something, or you're going to do something. What did he do that was so bad that you have to blow your top?
Yeah, no, I'm the same.
So you need that kind of person, because I can't go speak to my mom and my dad about my husband, because tomorrow we are okay, and then my mother saying, that little, you know?
Yeah, not the same thing.
It's not the same thing. So you can't. So you need to keep almost like the shiny side with your family, because tomorrow they upset with him, and we having a brilliant life, you know?
That's why I don't believe in matchmaking friends. Because I don't want to get involved. I think you guys should mess up yourselves, and I don't want to be involved in anything. I've never matched friends before together. I don't believe in it. I have no time for it. My friends are like, oh, you got such hot friends, and I said, don't
leave them alone.
You make the move yourself.
Yeah.
I won't put any through ball. No.
So we're actually diving away from the topic of menstruation, and where can women have access to it when it's available? Is it gonna be in your branded stores? Is it gonna be where is it available?
So at the moment I distribute about 600,000 sanitary pads a month with my sanitary pad company to about 70,000 young women across the country or Southern Africa. We use a vending machine. It's like a machine, and you put coupons in, brands pay for it, and then we distribute it to different schools and different centers. So when the factory opens, the pads will be available at normal shops, but actually that's not really our target market. What we're trying to do is get them all through schools. We want corporates to buy from us, and we distribute them and put machines into schools. It's called the Ogoji pad, which is named after an old army in West Africa, or all-woman army that used to beat up men. It's what the Woman King's based on, when I do with Viola Davis. And that's what it's about. I think for at the moment you're going to see a lot more stuff in media about it as soon as it opens.
Wow. I'm still always, when I look at your social media, when I look at your stories, I'm always at times not always agreeing with what everything you're saying.
I believe that if everyone agrees with you, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah. True. So I don't always agree with everything, but I am always in awe of how confident you are to say what's on your mind, not worrying about what people would say. And I think that is an amazing freedom that you've reached in your life.
I think so people give me a lot of credit for that. And for me, I think discipline equals freedom. So I'm disciplined enough to make sure that I always speak my mind. And I think the freedom you look at is the discipline. So it's the same as for me, if you're able to eat clean and eat well every single day and go to gym every day, right? The freedom of it is having a beautiful body and a healthy body, right? But the irony is that people who eat shit and who don't do the right thing or don't work out think they're free by eating shit food and not working out.
That's me.
But ironically, the people who are free are the people who can go in deep and be able. It's the same as if you're a Muslim. The freedom of being able, the discipline of being able to fast and really go through those things. At night when you eat, that's freedom, you know? But I think for me, the discipline that I have is the consistency to be disciplined, to stay truthful to my truth. So then even when I lose work, or people don't want to work with me because I stay fast and I stay in it. So sometimes I say no to work that don't align with what I believe in, what I feel. And there's the discipline, and the freedom comes from the discipline.
And that's the real meaning of authenticity, ultimately.
But I think people give me too much credit for being free. They don't understand that there's a discipline that goes and a risk with the freedom.
Yeah, that you obviously say no to work, which is money out of your pocket, out of your livelihood, whatever you sustain and support in the process. So all of that comes, and the freedom is your authenticity, ultimately.
But there's costs. People don't want to work with me for some things. I lose as many followers as I gain. You know what I mean? So like my numbers, they move, but they stagnate. They move unless I do something drastic. But the brands that work with me know who I am, and they're authentic to who I am and what I do.
And once again, it's a discipline.
I promise you, people do not realize. I think a lot of people have a misconception to what discipline is. I think people have negative connotations to it, because when you think discipline, you think of mother disciplining a child. You know what I mean? That's what.
And a teacher disciplining you with eating you or something. Yeah.
But I think for me, a discipline is as easy as waking up in the morning and doing your bed. Now, I don't do my bed. It's one thing that I do not have time for. I do not have time to make my bed.
But they always say, before you carry on with that, they say that that is the first task that you do to have a good day, is to make your bed.
So I get that example all the time. People talk about sleeping early, right? No, what if I sleep late and wake up late? Do you know what I mean? Like people that say don't eat late. Wait, what if I ate breakfast a little bit? You know what I mean? Like I don't think there's a one size fits all for everyone, and I think that's another thing. Like if I eat 50 grams of carbs, it'll work differently if you eat 50 grams of carbs. Yes. We're not all the same. But what I do think is that for me, what I preach to my friends continuously, they get irritated by it, is boundaries, discipline, consistency, authenticity. Those are my 4 things that I live by, right? And for example, someone broke into my car yesterday, and I was with a woman, and she was freaking out. I just said, "So don't freak out. I'll get those things back.
It's only things.
They'll fix my car. I'll get those things back. Insurance will pay. I'll get brands to give me, and I'll be fine." So why is your comments like, "My life is amazing. I create and create opportunities to make sure that my life always propels forward."
And that's a choice.
That's a choice, but there's a price.
Yeah. So my thing is always life is about choices. So if I get up today and I decide that I'm going to be happy today, I should navigate my day to create that happiness, because I can't expect you to create that happiness for me.
But in the same hand, the young generation, I don't know how old your daughter is, but the young generation, for example, I was about to jump onto stage and this young Gen Z said, "I have anxiety to jump onto stage." I said, "No, you don't. You're feeling nervous. Yeah. That's natural. That's natural." Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're in a fight and they say you've traumatized them. No, I've just offended you. Like, so everyone uses these big words. And
these buzzwords.
But I do think there are times when you need them. There are people who are traumatized. There are people who are triggered. There are people but your ex, if you listen to this, everyone, dear woman, your ex they can't all be narcissists. All your exes can't be narcissists. I promise you, not all of them. Sometimes you're the problem, but your friends won't tell you
that.
They won't
be straight. Yeah.
You can't have the same. Listen, guys, if you have 5 guys who cheated on you in a row, five, you're picking something. You are picking a certain kind of guy.
A type.
You are picking a type, but you won't tell. You won't. It's the same as in South Africa. We'll go, "My phone was stolen." No. Was it stolen, or did you lose it? Which one was it? Did you lose it or was it stolen? Which one was it? Because did someone steal it?
Stolen, taken, I take your phone.
Oh, did you lose it?
Yeah.
It's not a very different thing. But in South Africa, "My phone was stolen." Was it stolen or did you lose it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Huge difference.
So I think people have all these buzzwords.
These buzzwords that go around, and also like I look at kids, or not kids, or younger, like 25, 26, that comes out of...
Gen Zs.
The Gen Z's generation. Trauma for me is, I speak about in my book, I was raped. That is trauma.
Definitely.
That is not something I did to myself. That's not something that I opened myself up to, or my cleavage was showing, or my skirt was too short. You know?
Ask a 6-month baby that gets raped. Ask her what she was wearing, and what she was wearing was a nappy. So,
exactly. But now kids are saying that, we come out of a broken home. Why are you calling it a broken home if you have a mom, a stepmom, a dad, and maybe a stepdad? So you've got 4 parents. You've got 4 sets of grandparents. You've got extra siblings.
So I find in 2024, if I tell you that the world is flat, I can go on social media and find people who agree with me.
But will believe it, yeah.
Yeah, or online. So I think currently it's the same as when you get into a fight. You go to the friend that you know will agree with you. Can you imagine what he said? I know, let me go to that person. They will agree with me. Yeah. And that's how the world has become. Everyone will find someone.
And for me, that is not, when people say, and I'm going to probably get criticized for what I'm going to say now, is that, mental health is a thing. I agree with it. It's a thing.
Definitely. Some are abusing it, but it's a thing.
It is a thing. However, it's all about how you discipline your mind ultimately. So I could have sat in the corner and said, this man raped me when I was 18 years old. and not go back to school and go finish my diploma and not work and never get married again and all of. But I made that choice to say, but you took that from me, and you're not going to take anything else from me.
You know, I always say to my friends who struggle with mental health, and I know there's very minimal or very little that I can say to change someone's mental health. It's very little.
Yeah.
Like the whole bullshit about checking on your friends. No. You can check on your friends every single minute of the day, and they still hang themselves, you know, the hour that you've gone to go, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's not put the thing on us. Because I think a lot of people are like, check on your friends. Give yourself a fighting chance.
Yeah. Give yourself.
Like, you know, sport, eating, going out, walks, surround with people that love you, do the things that you love. Just give yourself a fighting chance. Like, it's the same as if you're fat. If you're fat, just go for a walk. Try going for a walk.
Okay, I'm trying that now.
I'm saying, go for a walk. Go for a walk. So in my house, you won't find a loaf of bread. So I grew up eating loaf of bread. Like, I grew up eating bread. That's all I ate when I was poor, right? In my house, you won't find bread.
Okay.
For me to eat bread, I need to physically get into my car or walk to go and get bread.
Okay.
Or a croissant. Right? Okay, I love croissants. But I need to physically go. You will not find a croissant in my house. Now, that's called discipline, right? But it feels like it's free. It feels like it's freedom when the shit's in your house. Yes. And you can the discipline is going into your car and walking and going to go get it. And that's what I made a conscious decision. Like, once I saw a loaf of bread in my house, I was like, what the fuck, what a loaf of bread? Then I realized I left my friend there who stayed there for 3 days, and he lives off bread. And because that's what we got given growing up.
Carbs,
we got given carbs to make us full.
And we also were said, if you don't eat all that food, you're not gonna, get a dessert, or you're not gonna get a reward of something, but you must eat all that food on your plate.
What we weren't taught is that you will not become fat from meat. You won't get fat from meat.
Okay.
Meat's protein.
Yeah, the carbs.
You won't get fat from eating protein. And then the fat on the meat is a carb, is an energy. So we've always been like, you know, so for me, I sometimes, like, even before I came here, I ate a steak. No carbs, nothing, but there was a bit of fat in it. And I know I eat meat every single day.
So you just had the steak and nothing's
so I have a brand that gives me meat, gives me food every single Monday. Yeah. 2 meals for Monday, Tuesday, then 1 meal for Wednesday, and then Wednesday morning I get given later meal for Wednesday, Thursday too, kind of a thing. And all I do, I take out the meat, I take a little bit of the carbs, I don't all clean carbs, and I eat that. But I eat what the hell I want every day. Sweets, chili, I eat what I want every day.
So that's another thing when we get to that time of the month for women when we got our period. We literally crave that sugar, and it's all about comfort food, but then it comes again, that discipline. So we were speaking about mental health and discipline and how you change it. So I've got also a friend that has been raped recently. And we had a conversation about it, and she was saying that they want to do some kind of treatment at the psychologist. And I said, okay, well, hold on. Before you do that, I can't tell you what to do. I still have a fear. So if I had to meet you at a coffee shop, I would have made sure that I'm there before you, even though I don't feel threatened by you. But it's a subconscious thing that I do all the time. So I will make sure that I'm there before you. I would look where the exits are. I would leave my phone and my keys on the table. So if at any point in time I feel uncomfortable, I know how to get out. Yeah. But that is because of my past trauma.
That's a trauma. See, that's a trauma. Hey, me disagreeing with you, that's not a trauma. Me not giving you what you want, that's not trauma. What she's talking about is trauma. Just for a fine example, if you're listening. If you listen to this, like, if there's trauma, there's a trauma. What you're talking about is bullshit sometimes.
But so I said to you, before you go for all this treatment that they're going to give you and all this medication that they want to give you, let's start walking and get those happy endorphins going. I will walk with you. We get the fresh air. We get those endorphins flowing, and then we walk twice a week. And then I've got a little bit of a gym in the house, and then we go do some treadmill. And if you're frustrated, let's take the boxing bag and we heat it.
Give yourself a fighting chance.
Yes, give yourself that fighting chance before taking all those chemicals.
And don't let them win. Just don't let them win over and over again.
That's the thing.
Over and over again.
And that forgiveness, for me, it took me years to forgive the man.
Do you know him?
No, I don't know him.
Oh, okay.
Like, so he came into our home. He followed me on campus. Or like when I would finish at 2, he's there. If I finish at 5, he's there. I had to take train. I had to walk home. You know, we weren't all privileged growing up. Even though I think I was privileged because I had a lot of love and my family. And he just came into the house on a Father's Day. On a Sunday, he broke in. I was alone at home. And immediately my first thought went to, as long as it's not my sister, you know, because I've got a younger sister. And it happened in the June vacation, and I needed to go back to school, and I needed to, you know, how am I going to do this? How am I going to cope? You know, yes, I've got the people from the church, I've got my mom, and I got my dad, and I got my sister that create this safe haven. But it's ultimately in my head, I need to be okay, and I need to be strong enough to not let him win every single day.
Did you ever see him ever again?
I think I saw him once, a couple of years back when I was married. I was living here already, and I had to go to work I had to go into work, and when I came out, I thought he was sitting, it looked like him. And then I got into the car and I started driving to follow him, and my husband lost his nanas because what if the man attacked you? But I wasn't sure, and I lost him, and I looked at him like literally, I rolled down my window and I looked at him like this, but I wasn't sure because it's so many years ago, you know. He's gotten older, I've gotten older, so I wasn't sure. But I still live with that constant fear, knowingly and unknowingly, if I can put it that way. I still live with that looking over my shoulder where I am, if I'm not with somebody that I trust, you know, even going to town, driving into town, or walking in the streets, I would always constantly make sure of my surroundings, where I am,
and that's
whatever.
not natural.
And it's not natural, but because I still have that fear and I'm still afraid, and I work on it. I try and work on it every single day. I've started traveling alone. I started going, like, simple thing in Johannesburg. I would never go without my husband in Johannesburg. I'll never drive alone in Johannesburg. I started going on my own, getting my own hotel, renting a car, driving alone. Because Cape Town, I know, I live here. This is where I was born and bred. But, you know, going into a foreign little city, which is not your natural habitat, I started doing those things. So I'm becoming better. And this happened when I was 18. I'm 45 years old now. But that trauma stays with you.
Yeah, I agree.
And also, like, things when I'm always concerned of I used to be. I don't think I'm like that anymore. But what people think, like, I've gained some weight, but I did 5 years of fertility treatment, which I struggled to get rid of those drugs in my body. I've got other kind of medical issues that causes the weight gain. So no matter how little I eat or how I gym or whatever, I just struggle to lose the weight. So I was always conscious of what people is thinking and saying. I can literally look at a freaking bowl of food and gain the weight, kind of thing. But then I realized that all I need to do is make myself happy. Not to make my husband happy, not to make you happy, my parents happy. I need to make myself happy. And then I started becoming a little better.
Agreed.
But it's the choices that I make. And I do believe that life is full of choices. You wouldn't be Siv, the great Siv, and I'm saying the great Siv because you've got a great following and there's people that look up to you, that you do change. You wouldn't be that if it wasn't for your discipline and being happy within yourself.
But I think another thing for me, I think I know that I can't always be fine.
Yeah.
Like it's a sweet spot. Like it's weirdly a sweet spot. Like I know when I'm not fine, I know what I need to do to make myself fine. And I think sometimes I have bad days. Like I sleep, sit in the room, sleep, like find the right people to know who I can talk to, and be able to get better and get to the position to be better. I do think ups and downs are the beauty. You know, I mean, that's how we're alive. I think a lot of people are striving for this excellence, and a lot of people are seeing people's highlights package on social media. That's why for me, I'm able to go on social media. Yeah, someone broke into my car today. I feel shit. I feel like they should die. I feel like we should kill criminals. I'm taking time of it. You know what I mean? Like, some people will disagree with me. None of my business. It's my social media. I feel
rapists should be hung by
the balls.
Yeah, you know, and none of those nice things. Because where is the justice, right? So, say my rapist was caught, he's in jail. I still need to work every day to stay alive, to have a livelihood. But my taxes is paying for his education in jail. So where's the justice in that kind of thing, you know?
It's one of the hardest crimes to prove in court.
Yeah, it is.
It's so difficult to hide, to really prove it in court. And a lot of the times I think a lot of women in South Africa just end up giving up and just like, oh, not just women, even boys, you know what I mean? But we've definitely failed in that space. I think we failed education. I feel we failed employment. I think we failed tremendously. I think we failed tremendously as a society. I think Mandela said it in the beginning that he said he failed. He should have done more for education. But obviously he was trying to build the country. And then we released men into society who were raised by men who were traumatized if they were oppressing or were oppressed. Then you expect them to go out into society and, you know, be these good men. And then you have a system of women being more employed than men in society, then men are unemployed, then they get belittled by women for not being employed, then they're sitting at home, they're drinking, then, you know, young girls are coming home from school, and then now men are interacting with young girls who they shouldn't have been, they're not getting attention from all, and then
and there's the rape, you know? And it's not that we're making an excuse for it. No, there's no justification.
You think that I just justified rape?
Yeah.
We're talking cack. But what I'm saying is that I think a lot of the times I think, like the other day, I when I write about things that happen to women, I say we men, right? And men can't handle that. They cannot handle being weed. You know what I mean? Like, but if I said men are stronger than women, they're like,
yes, we are stronger.
And we're faster, You know what I mean? But I think sometimes you got to accept that. I think sometimes if you're climbing Mount Everest, right, and you can only take one step at a time. Oh, you are nothing without the first step. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of times men don't realize that to get to the ultimate crimes of murder, rape, and all that kind of stuff, it starts with different little guck things that women do towards women to get to that. I promise you, your rapist did not. You weren't the first time he either did anything that, you know what I mean? You weren't his first rape.
No.
You know what I mean? And if you weren't his first time him trying, attempting, or trying to do it. You know what I mean? There's There's a lot of little processes of him trying, you know? So I think a lot of men don't realize that we are multiple mistakes combined to become this thing.
They always say something like it starts in your mind.
Yeah.
You know, you think something and then you do small little things to get to that ultimate goals. So why can't we just create the positivity around that and say like, I want to lose weight, so let's start thinking clean, eating clean, you know, start thinking, because they say your mind is the strongest tool that you have. But we use it for the bad, you know.
Oh, definitely.
So I can't keep Siv here all day, and I know he needs to go wherever he needs to be. But if you could say something to men or women, young men or women today, obviously you can't do it, but what would be, besides your greatest legacy, which is your sanitary dive, and I think that is the most amazing thing that you have done. If I look at all your award-winning acting, your producing, your everything that you've done, I think that is the most human thing that you have done, in my eyes, that is. But if there's anything you can say to young ladies and young boys, and even to us parents or grandparents or out there, to create a better society.
I think we've got to go back to basics, man. I think we've got to go back to basics. Like I feel like I grew up, the next door neighbor gave me just as much of a beating as my mother did.
Yeah.
If I cause kak, they'll be disciplined. And I think for me, it's not necessarily being moved by the person who's down the road, but I need to have the fear of being moved by the person down the road, you know? Yeah. And I'm not saying that we should be hit by everyone, but there is a discipline and the simplicity of discipline. And for me, I see young kids smoking in their school uniform. When we were younger, we'd have the common decency to change and smoke without school uniform.
And behind a tree or in a corner or somewhere.
You know what I mean? I would go back to respect, discipline, consistency, authenticity. I was a scout. I think everyone should go through some kind of scouting program. You know what I mean? The army, some people are against it, but I do think there's something should happen. Like something should happen.
An intervention of some sort.
Something needs to happen to be able to get back to the basics of what society is. I think this generation and all of us, I think we are fighting nothing. What are we fighting? Like, what are we fighting? Like, I can tell you, this is going to sound harsh. I'm going to say this now. Isn't it interesting that many countries around the world, we're not fighting wars. But if you are in a country that is fighting a war or a genocide or whatever, I promise you your gender doesn't mean shit. I promise you in Congo, no one's going, I'm a they, them.
Yeah.
No.
We, me, I.
You're trying to survive,
Yeah.
right? And I think there's so many, I promise you, how many vegans are you going to find in Palestine at the moment?
And
you know what I mean? And vegetarians. No, like you are trying to eat, you're trying to survive.
Yeah. You're going to eat anything, drink anything.
Yes, but Lebanon, Syria, people, but what I do think is that a lot of us are fighting for nothing. We're fighting for nothing. We're in social media. Our fights are sharing social media things and tags.
Yeah.
So it's quite interesting. That's why they always say that some of the greatest empires, as soon as they weren't in wars or fighting something, it was always their downfall. And I think we can all feel that our downfall is near. You know, discipline. There's all these things that are happening. You're like, what is going on? It's because we have no fight.
Right.
There's nothing that we're fighting for. There's nothing that combines us, that unifies us at the moment. That's why currently, if the Rugby World Cup is on, you will see crime will go down. Things will go down because we're all fighting for something. We have a common goal, and that is winning each rugby game every single week. But when we lose a rugby game, us Manila Bok. Us Manila Bok, and I love them. I love them to bits. But you should see the comments. How the racists come out hard. The evil comes out hard because we're losing. But when we're winning,
he's the greatest.
The greatest colored guy. Oh, Manny, what a guy. Oh, Manny. See Okolisi, what a quota. As soon as we're losing, he's a quota. See ya. We win. What a guy, what a captain. I wouldn't mind
my captain.
My captain.
Stronger together. Hashtag stronger together.
As South Africans, human nature in general, when there's something we're all fighting for that's uniting us, we come together. But I think the cuck is when there's nothing to fight for. I repeat, Congo, there's no one arguing about their gender at the moment. At the moment, and people want to survive. And I'm not now. I know you guys. I'm not saying people's gender is not important or what they identify. That's not what I'm saying. Your pronouns. I'm not going to say. What I'm saying is that it's quite interesting to see in places that are struggling how people end up.
How irrelevant it
how
becomes.
How they end up being surviving. I got in trouble recently, as usual, because I said I shared a post that says we should rather be trying to eradicate pit toilets more than we should be gender neutral toilets, right? Yeah. Now, I was attacked. I said, guys, if you are drowning in shit and if you are drowning in piss, I promise you, your gender is irrelevant.
Yeah, it doesn't
when you're
matter.
drowning and dying as a kid, right? Am I saying we should look at gender? Yes, we can. But what I'm saying currently, and another thing I said that I got in trouble for, I said, I have used pit toilets. I promise you, in pit toilets, they don't have, this is for men, this is for women. It's gender neutral. So those are the examples.
Yeah.
I promise you, if you're a gay child and you are drowning in shit, you do not care if people call you they or them.
Yeah.
You don't. You're drowning. You know what I mean? But
I just want to survive.
I'm not saying we shouldn't look at gender neutral. That's what I'm saying. Because I know people are dying, gay people are dying, trans women are dying, but people who are transphobic and killing people. I know that. But I promise you, if you are drowning in shit, you don't give a fuck what your gender is, or what your they, them, she,
what your pronouns
what
are.
your pronouns are, if you're drowning in shit. And I got that obviously it's online that you can say I like apples or like what about grapes? I would say
I just love that and once again you're gonna say it's a discipline, but you are just so free to say what you want or what you know.
But I do want to say.
But you do take the responsibility of it.
What I do want to say is I know if I lost every single acting job, I know I have comedy. And if I lost every single comedy job, I have presenting. I lost every single presenting job.
I can do everything.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a privilege. I don't think everyone should strive to be able to say what they want. I don't think everyone should strive to be able to be opinionated. I don't think that is the mission. I think people, you cannot force people to say things online. I do not believe in that. Forcing people to speak, or that's another conversation on its own. But I don't think you can force anyone to support anything. You're going to force people to put up a flag. You're going to support. You can't force people to put up a flag. You can't force people to do something or support something.
But I'm going to open another a box of worms. Sure. So how do you feel? And I've got the huge thing with when it comes to rugby, especially with sports, which unifies the nation, as you said. I mean, that's what Nelson Mandela used to bring the nation together, ultimately, was the 1995 World Cup. I never felt more patriotic. I was in London watching it in a pub, and I threw my South African flag over the table in the pub, and when we won, I was dancing in the streets of London. I never felt more patriotic at that point in my life, ever, up to today. But those that live here, that earns South African rands, that pays taxes, that support New Zealand or Australia, or isn't
it used to irritate me. It used to irritate me, but now I don't give a damn. I don't know. I don't care. People can support the hell they want. I know why people support the All Blacks. And people can support All Blacks. I love watching All Blacks play. I think All Blacks are my second favorite team. You know what I mean?
The discipline that they play with.
They're just beautiful. The flair. Yeah. I think people can do that, and I know where it comes from. So I've never been really hot. I don't really badmouth them. People can do what the hell they want. Listen, at the end of the day, it's 2024. You can love a man, you can love a woman, you can turn yourself into a man, you can turn yourself into a woman.
You can love both.
You want, as long as you're respectful. And for me, one thing I have seen the difference in, I have been in audiences and seeing South African, predominantly colored people supporting the All Blacks. They used to be a lot ruder and meaner when the All Blacks were winning.
Yeah. But
now that they're losing, they're a little bit more respectful how they support.
They don't really put that.
They're still here, but they're not like No, now they're a little bit more respectfully. Shake hands. I prefer them this way.
Yes,
but I don't think I don't think the All Blacks are done. I think they're
just building.
I think they're rebuilding. Then they're going to come back and
because that's one thing that they do very well. They build a brand, a strong team, and they've got match temperament.
I think the next World Cup, I think they're going to be strong.
And I think they might just win it. Not that I'm saying that South Africa should give up now.
I do not like New Zealand losing. It's not good for rugby. We always need, people.
Competition.
Good competition. But I think even us now, we're now winning here and there. It's like, but we need to put people. We need to, steal, shop and steal.
Yeah. So ultimately, I feel to make a better South Africa. This is my opinion. That we need to create an attitude of gratitude for what we have, and not always seeking more, and that we feel that the world owes us so much. That entitlement. And just to be kind. So if I'm kind to you and you're kind to the next person, isn't the world going to be a kinder place?
So in Japan, they say you should respect other people, not for them. You respect other people for yourself. It's the same as if you give. If you're sitting and you're giving other people because it feels good, it's fine. I mean, people don't realize that. You don't feel guilty for giving. And if I'm at the traffic lights and I see a woman who looks like my mother, I'll give her more than a woman who doesn't look like my mother. Because for me, it invokes emotion.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think the world is quite a simple place. I think you must be kind to people, treat them how you want to be treated.
And respect.
Respect, and I think boundaries. I think you must hold boundaries and you must be disciplined.
And be accountable for your actions.
And I think those for me are the things that are needed. I could sit here and tell you, I'm sure there are women who watch me do woman stuff and go, I can't believe he's doing this. He's broken my heart. I've broken women's hearts. I think have I mistreated women in a sense? Yes, I'm sure I have. I think there could be women out there who think I'm the most terrible human and vile human alive. I haven't been accountable and honest about it. Yes, I have been. Could I have done better? Yes, definitely. Should I do better? Definitely could. Do I get away with murder? Yes, I do. And yeah, man, I definitely think we're not striving for perfection.
We're striving just to be a better human.
And hold myself accountable.
Yeah.
Do I have blind spots? Yes, I do.
Absolutely. We all have blind spots.
Could I do better? Definitely.
Yeah. And before we end off, I'm going to touch on something a little bit more that's going to spark an emotion maybe. And I know your mom passed away.
2 years ago.
Yeah. I can't say that I know what you're feeling or what you've been through because I haven't lost my mom.
You're lucky.
I almost lost her. She got a kidney last year. If there's one thing that your mom taught you that you hold dear to your heart, that made you the humanitarian that you are. Would you share that with us?
My mom was like almost like a big, like, out there character, right?
Larger than life.
Yeah,
character.
but she definitely wanted to do good, but she wanted to be seen doing good as well. Like she had like a bit of like she wanted to do good, but she wanted to be seen doing good. And I like it. And I think that's why I've been able to create a sanitary pad charity and make it one of the most successful, because people don't realize for you to get money from people, you need to show people that you're doing this thing. And I think that's the way the marketing brain came from. Growing up, my mother used to, we used to do basela, we didn't have money, but my mother used to put money aside every single month, and then we'll get big groceries for Christmas. And then she would get the groceries and then she would divide them into 4. And that used to irritate the fuck out of me. I was like, what? We have nothing and you're still dividing it into 4. Damn it, woman. And and I do the same. I think my accountant the other day, I was looking at my, he was like, your biggest expenditure is giving back. He was like, we have to make this smaller. And I was like, no.
But that is why you've left.
This line is big, yes, but the money that comes in is even bigger. And it's bigger because of this one that comes in, and that's what I'm all about. I will give, if I have 2 rand, I'll give 1 rand away. It makes me feel good.
Makes you feel good to help others.
It makes me feel good.
And I can honestly say I've experienced that with Siv in the time of COVID, when my broker, Faola, put us in touch, and she said, go and let him just eat your food and let him put it out there. And you didn't have to do that.
No, people...
because you get paid to do that, ultimately. He never charged me a blue cent. Even coming here today to have a conversation, he came here because I asked. And that just shows that he has time. And I don't think a lot of people in your space, a lot of influencers, if you want, I'm just putting it in inverted commas, actually do what you do. That comes to the little person, if I can put it that way, and say, let me share my insight, let me share my time with you, because time is more valuable than money, because you could have been earning money, because time is money.
I think the thing with I do think the people that influence a game know that they've got limited time, but they don't realize that the more you give, the more you'll get. You know what I mean? And for me, I don't give to get, but I definitely give. It feels good, and it just makes everything better. But I do want to. The bigger our industry grows, and the more people who are out there creating content and doing things, the better for all.
Yeah.
There's no. We can't all just sit back. We all won't all be relevant. I'm turning 40 next year.
Ooh.
I promise you, there'll be less. When I walk on 18-year-olds, they don't know who I am.
Yeah, no.
They don't know who I am.
It's like I'm trying to grow a social media platform on Instagram. We are on Facebook. All my friends from school is on there. We chat and have it. And they always say that Facebook is for old people. But definitely Instagram is so difficult, because my generation doesn't know what Instagram is all about. My mom opened an Instagram account because she knows she must follow her daughter. That's about it, My dad has an account with nothing on it, and yet he brags at some nice girls that follow him. But that is, it's very hard. But I've never, even with the PR company that I work with, I said to them, I do not strive to be an influencer as people see an influencer, I strive to make a change and a difference. I want to bring the topics of miscarriages, because people say, oh, don't worry, you just had a miscarriage. No, I didn't. I lost my child. My child died. I heard his heartbeat. I experienced him. It wasn't just a miscarriage to me. Fertility, the journey of how it can break a marriage or a relationship, or how it can tear people apart. Death. I lost 3 cousins 15 years ago in one accident. All of them wiped out in an instant. How that affected a marriage, a family, families, losing a parent. I've got a baby sister, and I'm saying a baby sister, but she's actually my cousin. Her mom died when she was born. She was raised by us. Her dad took away. She had a stepmom. We had a very difficult time. in that space, even though we were the only. She's now back with us, but she wants to go study. But she doesn't have a mom. She has us, but she doesn't have a mom and a dad. So everything she needed to do in life had to be what she had to work for and fight for and battle for, and even going to study or wanting to get a job. She needed to always fight and work extra hard. Like, she was 6-7 years old, and she would work with me at work, and then she would say, Jill, keep the money that I worked for. It was just like spending money for whatever. And then I want a pair of Vans. Then she worked actually for the Vans. And when we go buy it for her, eventually for her birthday, she will still pick up the phone and phone him in the shop. She says, Jill, can I use your phone? I just want to phone Gary to say thank you. No. You know, so that is girls that has gone through trauma. That is men that has gone, boys that has gone through trauma. That turns out to be a beautiful, and that is what you are, a light to so many. You're not afraid of what you say. You're not afraid of what you're putting out there. You're not afraid of what you're doing. Standing up, say, I need to make a change. And that's ultimately what I see when I look at your content. I need to make a change. I'll be that person. I'll be the minority that's going to stand up for inequality, or you know, and that is what I admire. And
but to end off, I think I do think the biggest question is, if everyone's jumping a red robot, you start giving people credit for stopping in the red robot.
Yeah,
the biggest problem is that people aren't stopping in the red robot. We shouldn't have to celebrate people who stop in the red robot. I'm just the guy who stops the red robot. We should give back. We should give back. We should speak out. We should fight for you know what I mean?
But we're not.
But we don't as much as we should.
Yeah.
I'm just the guy.
You're just the guy.
The traffic light.
But thank you for being the guy.
There's traffic lights.
And thank you.
I just thought of that example now, but like everyone else is jumping around, so everyone's like, when you stop, you're like, oh, thank you so much. Oh, wow. And
that just shows, once again, your character, that you don't seek appraisal, you don't seek gain, you don't seek being put on a pedestal.
Because I'll be truthfully honest, you know, one of the reasons why I don't want to be put on a pedestal is because when I do fuck up,
and you're also going to be in the limelight.
I'll still be in the limelight, and I'll still get fucked up, and they'll still drag me to hell and back. So it's the same as Nelson Mandela. Many people call Nelson Mandela a sellout, right? Many people do. But he never ever wanted to be celebrated.
Absolutely.
Because I think there was a part of him where I was like, you know, these people are going to turn on me. Muhammad Ali, they attacked him. He never wanted, you know what I mean? He called himself the greatest, but you know that was a ploy. Realistically, he feared what people thought of him. For me, I'm just stopping the traffic light. If you guys are jumping the traffic light, fine, stop.
I'm going to give you that fine.
Yeah, I'm stopping.
But thank you so for joining me, and I really, really appreciate it. And I hope we can do it again sometime. All right, thanks. And that was Siv Ngesi with me on the couch, and I feel so privileged to have him here, and I hope we shed some light on some issues in life. You know, we spoke a lot of things, we did a lot of things here, we laughed, we swore a lot, we did a lot of things. But thank you, and I'm looking forward to getting you on the couch again soon.
Bye.
Bye.